Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. We're going to get back into the Operation Merlin Falcon channel, the Jack O'Sullivan case, episode 3. This is something, I'll do a part 1 and a part 2 on this ongoing people, and it's just more information and chat from Merlin. Let's get straight into it.
Hello everyone, this is the Operation Merlin Falcon channel. Today I want to talk to you about the Jack O'Sullivan case again. This will be a part 3 to the series. I felt like I left you with a little bit of doom and gloom in the part 2 series of the Jack O'Sullivan missing person case. And I kind of want to clear that up a little bit and maybe share a story that may or may not be true. So let's go ahead and get started. So earlier on in my career, one of the first missing person cases that I handled, it was actually out of the region that I was working in. And I got a call about a missing person case. It was a white male in his late 20s. And this call came in that in that particular region, their investigative team was busy working, I think it was strong arm bank robberies at the time, and we're talking years ago, folks. Hypothetically, that is. Years ago, so I jumped in the car and I go up to the area where this individual was reported missing. So his parents, who were not elderly, but they were older, probably about where I'm at right now as far as age. And I met with them, and we sat down and we talked about everything about his life, what was going on, his mindset, the whole 9 yards. And there was a lot that I had to discover through questioning in order to be successful in working this missing person case. Now, mind you, I hadn't had much experience at the time, and I was fairly new at that. And I soon realized that what was going on as far as this investigation is, it was a one-man show. I was it. I was the man. And so where I always wanted to start, the way I was trained, especially with adults, is you always look at the financial aspect of things. And in this particular case, that's pretty much where I started. And when I say started, I mean physically outside of the residence. Fortunately, in this particular instance, he lived with his parents for quite some time. He was a college graduate, had a full-time job, and appeared to just dropped off the face of the earth. Now, what I understand or understood at the time from the parents was it was coming up on the weekend. I think it was like a Friday night. He decided to go to a bar in a fairly large city, about 50 miles away from where they lived, because they lived out in the rural or the country area. And so, you know, that was even making the case more difficult, because now we have distance involved. Didn't have a car, didn't borrow his parents' car, didn't drive there, took a taxi there. So it got more difficult as time went on, because here's the thing that folks don't really think about when police work missing person cases. It's not against the law to be missing. Some people think that, you know, the police might have the right to just go snoop and look into everything when a person comes up missing.
No, I understand some people don't want to be found. And you find a lot of that, they make a life somewhere else because they weren't getting on with their immediate family. But I just don't think this happened to Jack.
An adult. It's not true. It wasn't back then. I don't know about now, but back then, you know, you got to get a lot of legal opinion from the department that you're with. You have to get a lot of legal opinion from the local state's attorney's office. Hopefully you have a good contact with them to give you advice on how to proceed with this type of thing. It's not easy. And I feel like that in the last two videos, I feel like I made that look easy and kind of was harder on the police department. But folks,
I think, no, I do think, Merlin, I do think the police could have done more for the family. I think they seem to think that they exhausted every avenue, and they do think that he may have gone into the river, though nothing was found. But it is bizarre that, you know, that the family have to, or Catherine has to email them every couple of weeks, and she's not allowed to phone them or anything like that. It is quite odd, bizarre, how they've just exhausted everything, as though they're basically saying, look, he drowned, sort of get over it. But we know there's a little bit more than this that meets the eye.
it's not easy. And I'm not making any excuses for anybody for either dropping the ball, whether they did or not. I don't know. Don't know enough about it. Only what I read and what, you know, the public can gather. But I can tell you, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, so you know. So it's not illegal to be missing as an adult. And I'm not saying this is what happened in the Jack O'Sullivan case. So don't get me wrong. I'm just sharing with you, you know, a hypothetical case scenario. So to get back to the story, I was able to determine where this establishment was in this fairly large city of a few hundred thousand, several hundred thousand people. And I decided to go there on a night in which the missing person, this individual, had gone to. I wanted to go on that same night to interview people, because here's the thing with bars, establishments like that. It's normally the same people every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night.
That's actually very true. Barmen, locals, you're right. That is very, very true. If something was odd, someone would know something.
Mostly Friday and Saturday night. So I figured I would visit on a night when had a lot of similarities to the night that this individual, and we could say the victim, just for all intents and purposes. So to cut down on wordage on this thing. So the victim being the missing person. So I went there and I interviewed a bunch of people, and I interviewed the bartender, and it was determined that the victim had written what we used to call back in the day a two-party check, basically, where you write a check to another individual and they cash it. And so I determined that the victim had written a check to an individual while he was at the bar, and that other individual cashed the check at the bar. And luckily for me and for this victim's parents, and I don't want to get ahead of myself with the story, but on the back of the check, when the individual who cashed it signed it, the establishment required that they put their address and phone number on the back of the check. Now, folks, if I hadn't asked about, if I hadn't interviewed this bartender and asked specific questions about, the little things, like I told you in part 2, it's the little things that solve cases.
Gonna leave it there, people. Interesting points. I do think we've just got to keep putting Jack O'Sullivan's case out there. Thank you for the Operation Merlin Falcon channel. Please go over to subscribe to him. I think he's made some brilliant points, and he's given an analysis on sometimes things we don't think about, and I think it's absolutely essential that these videos should go out there. So do go and subscribe to him and support the channel and myself, Streamline Entertainment. Thank you very much.